Welcome to the RPG Podcast.
And we are live.
Oh, God, Patton!
Presented by SHEATH. A Time Wheel production.
Welcome, everyone, to another edition of the Robert Patton Global Podcast. I'm here with another big one. I was just saying, Mississippi Mean. We might call him Jason the Kid Knight. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing good, brother. How about you?
I get a little nervous at the beginning of these for some reason, but I cool off just a little way through. I've been a big fan of yours since I saw you in the UFC, and you were just very exciting fighter. Obviously, a lot of people, you built up a lot of hype, and then I turned around and you were gone. I was like, what the fuck happened?
Yeah, man. I went on a 4-fight win streak, got a little bit too much money, so I started partying a little too hard, and next thing you know, I was kicked out.
Well, Brandon Moreno, he is the current champion at 125, and he got kicked out or let go at one point, and he worked his way back, and now he's a fucking champ. How about that?
Yeah, that's pretty badass, man. I think he got kicked out in 2018 and then champ in 2021 or something like that.
And you may very well be the champion of the PFL, winning that millie. That'd be pretty sweet.
Yeah, man, that sounds even sweeter than a UFC contract right now.
I bet. Yeah, I've been watching the PFL more, and Wiz Khalifa is like part owner, and they're doing. Do you like rap at all, or not so much? Okay,
a little bit here. I'm more of a country fella.
I mean, I figured because you're from Mississippi, but I was from Georgia, and there's a lot of rap. There are a lot of rappers are from Mississippi, I'm sure as well. But I don't know. What was my point? Did you play basketball at all?
No,
because you have
played baseball, and then I fighting since I was 14, so I didn't really have much time for any other.
That's what I wanted to talk about next. But the reason I brought up is because your name, Jason Kidd, was a famous basketball player, but there's no correlation.
Yeah, Jason Kidd's a pretty badass basketball player too, though.
Yeah, no, exactly. No, one of the best ever. You were 8-0 at 16. Is that right?
Yeah. At 16, I was 8-0. I turned pro. That was as an amateur. I was 8-0, and then I had 2 more fights before I turned pro. So I turned pro at 17, and I was 10-0 as an amateur, and I had won 2 belts by that time. And my coach, Alan Belcher, he came up to me. He's like, man, I think you ought to go pro. I was like, can I even go pro? I'm only 17. And he's like, man, I've been talking to the athletic commission. I told him you've been fighting grown men since he was 14. And he says, if your mom will sign, pretty much a permission slip, then he'll let you go pro. I was like, sweet. And then that's what I did.
It's kind of like joining the army in the military. You got to get that little permission slip when you're 17.
Yeah.
I was in the army, and but I joined pretty late. How old are you?
Now I'm 29. I just turned 29 July the 14th.
Okay. So you're still a youngin'. That's good. I like that because you got a long way to go, Yeah,
man. My plan is, I want to try to. I've been fighting for 15 years now, so I'm hoping within the next 5, maybe 7 years, I can accomplish everything I want to accomplish, and then go ahead and hang them up.
Hang up the hat. Yeah. And right off into the sunset. Are you like country? Do you do like farm shit?
Man, I like to hunt and fish, ride four-wheelers. We go down in Mississippi. We got the best mud there is in the world, so we go mud riding a lot. Other than that, fishing, hunting, I love it.
Hank the Third had a song.
got any horses or anything like that, but I wouldn't mind it one day.
Yeah, like cowboy.
Sure.
I mean, because I went to his ranch, I got to meet him, and he's living the life a kid would want to kind of live if they had all the money they had to play with.
Yeah, cowboy. I've been out there to his ranch to train, and he lives it up, dude. He's, if you're not mountain biking, then you're out on the boat skiing. If you're not skiing, then you're out riding motorcycles. It's just like every day's an adventure at his house. So it's pretty. And on top of that, you'll train your ass off. He wakes up like 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, trains his ass off, and then he'll go, mess around, have some fun all day, and then that afternoon it's right back to the grind. So. And everything, every little activity that he does, whether it's mountain biking or swimming or whatever it is, it's all some kind of workout in its own little way.
Mm-hmm.
Driving the motorcycles, but everything that he does for fun, it's some kind of a workout, and you don't even realize that you're working out.
Yeah, I went and we were supposed to do a photo shoot, and he wasn't there. He was out fucking like bull riding, or he was roping cattle and shit. So like 4 hours later, he showed up, and then we did the photo shoot. But and then after the photo shoot, we got to get in the sauna and his little fire sauna thing.
That sauna out there.
Yeah, it was so cool. We did like an hour, and I got to just sit next to him. It was cool. It was just a cool moment. Get that good energy. He's such a good dude.
No doubt.
Yeah. And so when you started fighting at 14,
Yes,
how did that happen? What happened?
Man, I was just a bad kid. I always got in street fights, at school or at the skating rink, wherever I could get in a fight, at the baseball field, whatever. If somebody, all they had to do is say one or two crosswords or look at me crazy, and I was ready to fight. I was a hot-headed kid with a big temper, and a guy. He's now pretty much my brother-in-law. At the time, he was just like a friend of the family, and he's like, "Hey, man, I want to teach you how to box." And he really, at the time, I thought he knew how to box, but he really don't know how to box. He just he got in his living room, started holding pads for me, kind of teaching me how to throw straight punches. And then he goes out to a bar one night, and they're passing out flyers for a place called the Fight Club. And whenever he comes home, he's got this flyer, and he's like, "Hey, man, you ought to call these people and see if they'll let you fight." So I called him. I was like, "Look, I'm 14. Can I fight?" The guy says, "I don't give a shit if you're 12. If your mom will sign a permission slip, you can fight." Well, my mom took me down there that Monday, signed the piece of paper. I fought that Wednesday, and I fell in love with it, dude. I never stopped. I think that was the best thing that's ever happened to me. I think, since I was 14, since I started fighting cage fights, I think I've probably been in like 4 street fights, and that was just because, it couldn't be avoided. But, before that, I probably gotten 4 or 5 a year, just for the fun of it. Yeah, that was my kind of fun, my adrenaline rush. And now I get to do it, as a living, something that I can go out there and kick somebody's ass and not get in trouble for it. I love it.
That sounds very sweet. I was today I had a professional fighter. He's a professional fighter. He came to the house, and he was helping me hit pads with him. His name is Dylan King. He just got signed to Fury, and he's got a 3-fight deal. So I'm excited for him. And I love what you guys do. I like the aspect of the mental, the physical, the training. I'm not going to fight per se. I'll do a little sparring. I'd like to spar it up. It's not the same, I guess, but so typically this podcast, you can't quite see it, the RPG podcast, Robert Patton Global, we talk about success and what it takes to be successful, and sounds like you kind of just were a natural a little bit.
Yeah, man. I guess you could say that. I've had to work hard for it because what I was saying, I wouldn't really call myself a natural. I had to work real hard to get any kind of talent. I didn't have any natural abilities, but naturally I've had the heart all along.
Yes.
That's something you can't teach. You can't teach somebody how to take a punch, or can't really teach anybody how to not give up in a bad situation. That comes from somewhere deep within, and I've had that since I was born. I guess I've always. If you put me in a corner, I'm trying to fight my way out. You put me in a bad position, I'm not stopping until it's over, and that's just the way it is.
I feel like I'm similar in that regard with the heart thing. I'm 5'8", 150, 160, slow. I tried to play basketball when I was young, and I had to try so hard just to be average, or you know what I mean? And but I always had that heart, and maybe I feel like if I had put that towards fighting, maybe I would have been better at fighting. But ultimately, it transitioned into the army and business, and like that no quit shit. Like I'll fight metaphorically till the bitter end. Let's go.
You'll fail a million times to succeed once.
That's exactly. That's one of my favorite quotes. That's a Michael Jordan kind of a thing. And where do you get inspiration from?
Really, I've never done it before. Never really got inspiration from anybody before. But here lately, I've been listening to Eric Thomas.
Okay.
But he's got this one motivational speech where he's talking about I can, I will, I must. And anytime that you're feeling like you don't want to do something. He said, think about, three people in your life, three main people, whether it's your wife, your kids, your mom, whatever it is. He said, think about them and draw from them. I can, I will, I must. And I've got 3 kids, and here lately, every time that I woke up and I'm like, man, I don't feel like going to the gym today. Man, I don't want to make that drive. Or, man, I can, I will, I must. And then next thing you know, I'm putting my shoes on, headed out the door. And I really like that. I'm gonna keep that in my head this whole training camp. And as I'm in the cage, walking out, all that good stuff, it's gonna be right there. That's gonna be like my mantra or whatever you want to call it. I'm gonna be repeating it over and over the whole fight. Whatever I got to do, I can, I will, I must. I can, I will, I must.
I like it. I love it. It reminds me of 2 things. One being something I say, and I'm like, I can't do it, Captain. I don't have the power. And then another voice of mine says, aye, but you can, and you will. And I will. And I'm like, yes, I can, and I will. Kind of silly. But also, Rose Namajunas just won the championship, and she was sitting there before the fight started against Zhang Wei Li, and was just, I'm the best in the world. I'm the best in the world. I'm the best in the world.
You've ever noticed that, but it's every fight with Rose. Every fight with Rose. It might not be I'm the best in the world every time, but every fight, if you watch her before the fight, you can watch her lips repeat something over and over and over and over. And she goes out there and she does her thing, bro.
And you do too. I guess you just, like you said, you got too caught up in the glitz and the glamour and the glory or whatever.
That's it. I just I had enough money to do anything I wanted to do. I went from I might have made $20,000 a year before the UFC. All of a sudden, they just dropped 80 grand in my lap like it's nothing. And I'm like, let's go. Let's get in their truck. Let's go party. And that's what I did. If I went out And I'd call up one of my friends and be like, hey, man, what you doing tonight? Not much. Just sitting around the house like, hey, we're going out to the bar. You want to go? Man, I ain't got no money. And then to get in the truck, let's go. I got you. And then do that with like 6 people. And then I go up to the bar to get shots, and I'm buying shots for 6 people versus just buying them for myself, thinking that I'm a millionaire. And really, in all reality, I didn't have enough money to last a year if I balled like that. And that's what I did, man. I would ball so hard, right after a fight that, the money wouldn't last me until the next fight. And it definitely should have. It should have easily. And I would get low on money, and then I would take a fight on short notice just because I needed to make some money. I needed to get in there and make some money. I'm gonna win this one and turn it all around. And no, that's not how it happened. The more that I took short notice fights, the more that I did dumb shit, the worse it got for me. And at the time I was young, and I didn't really realize that I was my own worst enemy. I was the problem. And I'm glad I learned the lesson early in life, because they say at 28 you're in your prime. I'm 29 now, and I feel better than ever. So I'm going to go out here and fight the way that I'm supposed to, train the way that I'm supposed to, and I don't even care to party anymore. I got all that out of my system, and now I'm going to go out here. I'm going to do this the right way. Every time I get my hand raised, I'm going to thank God for the opportunity. If I lose, I'm going to thank God for the opportunity, and see where it takes me.
Yeah, that attitude of gratitude just will, according to these books I read, it just brings more good to you. This podcast is brought to you by ohanakavabar.com. Now, Ohana means family, but what is kava? Kava is a root from the South Pacific. It makes you calm and happy. Just go to ohanakavabar.com. Choose your favorite brew. They have many to choose from, with more on the way. And I personally like the tincture. It tastes good. It gets you quick, and you're calm and relaxed in a moment. It cools and calms the nerves, and I think you'll like it. Let them know we sent you. Support this podcast by supporting our sponsors and support this company. So go to ohanakavabar.com. Use promo code SHEATH. You're going to love it. Doesn't taste that great, but chase it with a nice pineapple. You will not be disappointed. Trust me on that. ohanakavabar.com. Ohana's family. Use promo code SHEATH. You're welcome. Last but not least, sheathunderwear.com. The greatest underwear on the planet. The underwear of legends. The underwear that keeps your balls from sticking to your legs. That's right. This is the best underwear because it keeps your boys cool. Check out sheathunderwear.com. Back to the show. If you're all bitter, you're going to get a bunch of bad kind of negativity. It's like the law of attraction. I'm sure you've heard of that.
The way I see it, getting kicked out of the UFC, it wasn't the worst thing that's ever happened to me in my life. I got kicked out of the UFC shortly after I got signed to bare knuckle. I fought Artem Lobov twice. The first one was the most bloody, gruesome fight I think I've ever seen in my life. And I gained, a lot of fans behind that. And, I feel like my stock and nothing but rose since I got out of the UFC. And I believe that if I go out here, even if I don't win the $1 million in the PFL, if I just go out here and show everybody that I'm back, that, I'm focused, I'm ready, and I'm here, to play this game for real, then I believe that my stock's just going to keep rising.
Yeah, you seemed unbeatable, and that fucking tattoo on your back is so cool. I love that shit.
It's still a little ugly right now. I'm not done with it. I had when I was 15, my dad, we was living in this trailer park, and my dad had this lady come over doing tattoos for everybody. I'm like, Daddy, can I get a tattoo? He's like, yeah, sure, get whatever you want. And I don't know if you've ever seen Chuck Liddell's shirts, the pit has got Chuck going, doing this.
I love that. I have a poster right here. Yeah.
And I tell him, like, hey, this is what I want. Well, the guy draws it up, and it looks badass on paper. It looks awesome. Well, I was like, put that on my back. You know, it's got the cage there, and it's got Chuck doing this, and it's got the big skull face or whatever. Well, anyways, I'm like, I want this. Well, whenever he puts it on my back, it does not look the same. Like this big, the head's like this big. It looked like I had a big ass bobblehead on my back.
You're right.
So, yeah, it looked like I had a big ass bobblehead on my back. So I would say probably 17, 18, you know, I done got fed up with the tattoo. I wanted it gone. It just did not look the way I wanted it. So I find this tattoo shop that wants to sponsor me, and I tell them, look, just give me some big ass wings. You know, what's Benson Henderson? I told him I wanted some wings kind of like his. So he's like, look, man, we're going to have to do a lot of black to get this covered up. I was like, all right, cool. So the plan was we're going to do a lot of black to cover it up, and then we're going to go back and we're going to add in grays and whites and purple and stuff like that to add details. Well, I have not got around to getting the detail added yet. So right now it's just a big ass black blob, but I like it. You know, it's a lot better than what I had before.
I got a cover up. I've had a cover up, and I have the sheath like on my back. It's just not a fun process to have the needles going back. I'm like, didn't you already do that spot? Why are you still on that?
See, my back really, I don't know why. Like after about an hour, my back went numb. Yeah, it didn't even bother me anymore.
Wow.
I've got both rib cages. You know, I've got scriptures on both sides. And I'm telling you now, that is the worst pain I think I've ever been through in my life. It's like every little word that he tattooed on me, I just held my breath and just sucked it in. But, you know, I could deal with the back over again, but the rib cage, you're never touching my ribs ever again.
Yeah, I just had my back touched up, just like the lines redrawn out. But you have the scripture. What do they say on there?
One says, greater is he that lives in me than he that is in this world. We can do all things through Christ Jesus, who loves us, who strengthens us. Walk by faith, not by sight. And then the other one, it's a mouthful. It says, the Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the strength. The Lord is my light and salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the strength of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid? When the wicked came against me to eat up my flesh, my enemies and foes, they stumbled and fell. Though an army may rise against me, in this I will be confident. I don't know. Yeah, something similar to that.
That's
anyway,
awesome.
Yeah, it was. I spent a lot of time just kind of flipping through the Bible and trying to find the right Bible verse that I felt like suited me, and I was like, "That's the one. That's the one." And this, the greater is He that lives in me. A lot of people probably don't know this, but when I was 17, I caught a robbery charge. I was hanging out with the wrong friends, taking Xanaxes and stuff, and I wound up. I went to prison. Well, I went for 6 months. It's called the RID program. It's almost like kiddie prison. You know, it's like a boot camp kind of deal.
Bunk beds and shit.
Yeah, I went when I was 20, got out when I was 21, and then made it to the UFC when I was 23. But anyways, we always had this little prayer group, and at the end of the prayer group, we would always chant that. You know, we'd say it loud enough so that way everybody in the whole building could hear us. You know, greater is He that lives in me than he that is in this world. We can do all things through Christ Jesus, who loves us, who strengthens us. Walk by faith, not by sight. And you know, that stuck with me for a long time. And I was like,
tattoo. It says faith. I mean, but it's like believing in yourself. Also, I love Jesus. A lot of people hate Jesus these days. I'm like, take it easy on Jesus. He was a good guy.
That's it. Yeah. I mean, I can't say I'm a Bible thumper or, I'm the best Christian in the world or anything. I believe in God, and, I believe that whenever we die, we're either going to heaven or hell. And I sure hope it's heaven for me.
Same here. I mean, if it's all black, then it's all black. But I'd rather hope that I go and live in like a peaceful nirvana.
Yeah. The way I see it, I believe that I don't know for sure. I don't think it's going to be a lake of fire or streets of gold. I think it's going to be either your worst nightmare playing over and over again, or your greatest, your best dream, the place that you always thought of, as a happy place. That's going to be what you have after you die.
Your happy place.
Yeah.
Like Happy Gilmore.
Yeah, man. I'm hoping I'm fishing with my brother or something, whenever I die, fishing with my brother and hanging out with my kids, something like that.
Indeed. Yeah. I went to like another dimension, if you will. I did DMT. You probably heard of it. Maybe like.
Man, yeah. I dabbled with acid a couple years ago, and that's what wound up that's what wound up bringing me closer to God. I tried acid, had the worst trip in the world, and thought that I was never coming back. And now I have pretty much PTSD because of it. And I feel like the only thing that helped me get right in my head was getting in church, getting it right with God. And I definitely see I know what you're talking about, being in another dimension.
Yeah. I just was like, there's something outside of this body, and we'll find out soon enough. Hopefully not too soon. I got stuff to do.
Yeah, man. I don't know. I feel like I was stuck, in that other dimension that you're talking about, and no matter what turn I took, I always ended up back at the same place until just one day I took the right turn and it led me back to real life. It was rough.
Wow, that sounds like a bad trip. Mine, I'll explain. So I did the DMT, and you just you take this big bong hit, and you put it a little bit on a little bit of weed or whatever, and you got to hold it in though, and hold it until you start getting the wah-wahs and everything starts shaking. And I feel like I did, they say you shoot out of the top of your head, but time slowed down. We were listening to music, and it went and it stopped. And then I start going through this portal, and all these doors start opening, all these doors are opening, and you're going through, and I pop out on the other end, and it's a glass house with white furniture and jesters drinking tea. Civilized. They're all civilized. And they turn to me, and he saw me, and he goes, shh. And that's all he said. But what I got from it was, we have this under control. You don't need to be here. You saw it. It's real, but go back to your dimension and handle business there. And that's the last time I did DMT. But I was like, that was trippy. Yeah,
I get it, man. Hold on one second. My light just went out.
You're good. You're totally good. It's on a timer.
Yeah, they as soon as you walk in the door and turn your light on, I think it's 30 minutes or something like that, and then it just goes off on its own.
Where are you at?
I'm at American Top Team in Coconut Creek, Florida. And the downstairs is the gym. The upstairs is almost like an apartment complex.
Dan,
and it's pretty badass, man. I love it.
You met Dan Lambert?
Yeah, I met Dan Lambert. Dan Lambert's really cool. The the first time I came out here just for a week, and I was getting ready for my last fight, which was the Masvidal's bare knuckle MMA. I fought crazy, but I talked to Dan about, you know, he was saying he would try to get me in PFL and blah blah blah, and you know, I was like, hell yeah, that'd be awesome. You know, yeah, basically asked me, was I interested? I told him, hell yeah, I'm interested.
Hell yeah.
And then after my last fight, I decided to sign with Sucker Punch as a management company. And Brian Hamper, he called me back like the next day after I talked to him about signing with him. He's like, hey, man, I got you an offer with PFL. I was like, hell yeah, that's awesome. And then and we took it. So now I'm up. I just got here on Monday, and I'll be here all month. You know, I feel like if I just stick it out here and I train as hard as I can this whole month, then, you know, by August 27th, I'm going to be a completely different animal.
August 27th. Okay. And who are you fighting?
Not 100% sure yet. I've got the promotional contract. I'm signed with PFL now, but I do not have a bout agreement just yet. Not 100% sure, but yeah, we're training for it, all of them. I got to fight them all. Whoever's.
Oh, 100. But somebody fell out, right? That's why you got pulled in, or no?
I honestly have no clue. I didn't ask any questions. I just said, where do I sign?
Yeah. Because the PFL is like a season, and you have.
Yeah, I think right now I'm just kind of like almost like an alternate fight, and if I win this one, then I'm entered into next year's tournament or whatever. I'm not. That's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping that I'll win this one, and then get in the tournament next year. 4 fights, win all 4 of them, make $1 million.
And you get paid also during
you get per fight also.
Oh, that's great. Okay, that's awesome. I've been watching it. We were sponsoring Tyler Diamond, and I don't know if you've been watching. He's a good fighter. He came up with Bryce Mitchell in that Ultimate Fighter show.
Yeah, I know Tyler Diamond is. I went out to Alpha Male one time, and he was out there. I got to train with him a tiny bit, not much, but a tiny bit.
And are you 145 or 55? Or do you change?
145.
Okay, good. Right. I mean, some people go in between and whatnot. But
yeah, I've 55 probably 2 or 3 times in my career, but 145 is just so easy for me to make, so I just stick right there.
Yeah, you were way bigger than that dude you just fought on Gamebred. What was his name?
Charles Bennett. He calls himself Felony nowadays, but his real name's Crazy Horse.
He got you with one punch there. Fucking
yeah,
he got the one punch.
And his timing was super sneaky. You know, usually almost every fight I've been in, I come out and I land my double jab right off the rip, and I hit them first. And that's where I thought it was going to be no different. But as soon as I came in with that double jab, it was like he was waiting on it. As soon as I tried to throw that first punch, he come right over the top with a little check hook. It caught me off guard, kind of wobbled me a little bit. But I was ready for war after that. I'm one of those guys that I really don't turn on until I get hit a time or two. And it definitely lit a fire under me. I was trying to get that back, and then he shot in. Like, I don't know if he shot in for a takedown or if he just threw a crazy punch. I looked down and his head's like right there by my waist, so I just jumped on his back and started working for that choke.
Yeah. After that, it was over. That was pretty quick. Jesus, the wind is blowing back here. I caught some of the bare knuckle boxing fight. That shit is brutal. Tell me, like, what do you think? And like, is that even smart to do, or like what?
Oh man, honestly, the only thing that ever really bothered me about bare knuckle was my hands. I never broke either one of them, but man, they would swell up so bad it'd take like a month before you could even go and punch anything again. You couldn't hit pads, couldn't do anything except for maybe movement drills or something. You can't really use your hands for a solid month. And I think that was the main thing that made me steer away from bare knuckle, just because they say some of the fighters they try to throw their punches lighter so that way they don't damage their hands. But 120 is the only way that I know. I can't try to hit you unless I'm trying to knock you out with pretty much every punch. And it just doesn't work for me. My hands got swollen up, they hurt. And my last fight they paid me really good, and then they tried to offer me a 3-fight contract and wanted me to pretty much cut my paycheck in half. And you don't go down after you win a fight. That. But they tried to pretty much blame it on the whole COVID thing or whatever. But that's no excuse to me. You still got the money. I'm not stupid. You can either pay me what you're supposed to pay me, or I won't fight.
Yeah, you can be patient. I feel, and that's what you were saying earlier about when you were spending all your money and you had to take these short notice fights just to get the money. It's like, if you can pace that out better, you can be patient and get a better deal.
I learned a few years back that just because you just had $30,000 or $60,000, $100,000, whatever it is, just because you had that and you don't anymore, it's not the end of the world. It's really not. I've lived broke pretty much my whole life. So if I have to be piss poor broke while I'm waiting on a good opportunity, then that's fine. I'll take that. I'll barely scrape by until something happens, and then whenever it happens, it'll be on my terms, not on someone else's.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm like looking for these books. I'm just going to recommend them to you. This is called Think and Grow Rich. It was written in 1908 by Napoleon Hill, and he got like all of the most successful men of that era, interviewed them, boiled down a philosophy of success, and wrote a book about it, and like what all the characteristics of these successful people were, and like what they maybe did to get better at them or whatever. And it's like my Bible. And then this is the second one he wrote, which is it's like the same book, but a little bit easier and more fun to read. So you could just read this one, Success Through a Positive Mental Attitude. We'll have it in the show notes. I'm not making any money off that, but like I was, I had that heart, you were talking about, but I didn't like know what to do with my life. And I had corporate jobs, and I ultimately ended up joining the Army because I failed out of college. I partied. I got arrested. I went to jail. I did 4 months in a detention center in Middle Georgia, which is probably similar to Middle fucking Mississippi, right?
Yeah, sure.
And it sucked. And I stopped doing what I was doing, which was a powdered substance at the time. So I like no more of that. But and so I had a kid, and she was just going nowhere. So I joined the Army, and that was a huge pivotal step up in my life. I did really well. I went to Iraq twice, but I just did good at my job, and I gained rank. But then I ultimately had this idea for the underwear, and I got out, and I kind of attributed it always to these books and these ideas. Like one being, this is my first tattoo. It's from chapter 3 of Think and Grow Rich. And it's just about having like faith in yourself, or I'm not sure what it even means anymore. Actually, I kind of forgot, but there is a belief, take that first step, and like, and it like, you just have to have faith that the doors are going to open when you get there and whatnot. And I don't know how you can relate it to fighting, but I typically do, because you guys have the most difficult job where you have to give like every single thing you have you have to be obsessed with it in order to be successful, to be the best.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, if you're not pretty much obsessed with it, I mean, I have kids and I've had family and stuff like that. So since I was 19, I had my first kid when I was 19. So since I was 19, I've had to, manage both. I've had to sacrifice a lot of time with my family, and also kind of figure out how to train and be with my family at the same time. And it's very, very hard. It's something that if you don't just absolutely love it, then you're not gonna just stick with it. Like right now, I'm spending a month away from my kids. I just had them, pretty much all summer, and I'm gonna go home for 2 days, and like not this Friday, but next Friday. That's 2 weeks in. We'll go home, spend 2 days with my kids, fly back out here, and spend another 3 weeks out here. But that's super hard. A guy like me, I love spending time with my kids. I love, being with my family, and to mentally be able to get out here and still focus on this, and not really worry so much about what's back home. That's a hard thing to do. But the thing for me that really drove me to finally come out here and spend a full camp out, because like my whole UFC career, I never left no longer than 2 weeks. Like if I left, I was back, whenever it was time to get my kids. I was back every time. And now, my mentality is this: if I go and spend this month away from my kids, then it gives me the opportunity to go out here and win this big ass opportunity, this big fight. And, then I do it again for the next training camp, and again for the next training camp. If I spend that little bit of time away from my kids, then in the future, that's going to open up doors for me to be able to really spend more time with them, than if I'm if I'm at home, man, if I got my kids, guess what? They're going to the gym with me. We're together, but we're not really spending time together. I'm not able to take them out and do different stuff because my life is consumed around training. And, I feel like if I can get this done and over with within the next 5 years or so, then I get to spend endless amounts of time with my kids before they get too old for it really to affect them too much that I'm gone. And, hopefully at the same time, I'm setting up, college funds and preparing for their future as well, hopefully giving them some kind of head start in life that I didn't have. And, that's where I'm at now. I don't care about partying. I don't care about hanging out with the buddies or none of that. It's setting up something for my kids and a future for myself as well. So I feel like I'm unstoppable right now.
I love that plan. And you have a definitive time frame. That's part of the secret shit. You're like, what do you want to get done? When do you want to get it done? How are you going to do it? Seeing that vision, in the future of you with your hand raised and with that belt around your waist and all that stuff, or whatever you want, which I'm assuming you want something like that. But that's a lot. That's all in this book. But since you're in Coconut Creek, Florida, at this place, American Top Team, what are you trying to do? Because I imagine you've been doing it for 13 years. It's so natural to you. You know what you're doing. It's you don't have to think. And tell me if I'm wrong.
As of right now, I gotta improve my wrestling, because that's the weak game. Improve my wrestling, and then just keep working on everything else, trying to close any kind of holes that I have in my game, and prepare mentally and physically for war. I'm just to go out here, and I've got to go to battle on August 27th against whoever is in front of me. and I have to get him out of the way if I want to, be entered into the tournament. I have to go out here and put on a show that, keeps me in the running. And, that's pretty much where my focus is at right now. Just get past this guy and sign the contract for the next guy.
I think like all things equal, if you're equal and it's your heart against this other dude's heart, you're going to win.
That's the plan, man. If we're similar in skill, I promise you I'm going to outmatch him in heart. I don't see anybody in this world that has more heart than I do, that wants this worse than I do. And, I'm focused mentally on the correct things versus, the parties and stuff like that. And a focused, determined Jason Knight, that's a dangerous man.
I love it. So you're there because you're away from your kids, so you're sacrificing, you have this goal and you're giving everything you have toward it. And is it cool there? Like is Tyron Woodley there or whatever?
Tyron Woodley's not here, but Jorge Masvidal, Dustin Poirier, Oski, man, there's a who's who of people. Edson Barboza, man, there's way more than that. Marlon Moraes. It's incredible the amount of people here. There's like back home, I might have five different guys that are close to elite level, that are close to the next level. I come here and I've got 60 people, all day, every day that are elite level. There's elite level coaches. Mike Brown's down here coaching. Man, there's King Mo's down here coaching.
I would get Mike and Matt Brown mixed up, but Mike is the immortal or Matt? Which one?
I'm not even sure, but
you don't know.
Mike
Okay,
Brown, he's the short, stocky one.
Okay.
That beat Uriah Faber.
Oh, nice. That's a big win.
Yeah, he beat Uriah Faber back whenever Uriah was on the tier. Uriah, WEC, Uriah was killing everybody. And then this guy comes in out of the blue and just dominates Uriah Faber. And that was the first time I ever heard of him. Now he coaches an MMA class, and I get to attend it. So it's pretty awesome.
And he's in your weight class. No, you're
55er, but he's retired nowadays. It's crazy. You go down there, all I got to do is get in the elevator and go downstairs. One story, and there's the biggest gym that I've ever been to right down there, and everything's at my fingertips. All these training partners, all these awesome coaches, a world-class facility is all just right here, and I don't have to go anywhere to do it. When I'm at home, I drive 45 minutes to my first session, and I leave from there. I drive another 30 minutes to my next training session. Then I drive 45 minutes home. I'm there for 30 minutes or an hour. Then I drive another hour in the opposite direction to my last training session. And then I go home, get something to eat, get a shower, go to sleep, wake up the next morning, do it again. And so that's at least 4 hours worth of driving pretty much every day when I'm out. Here, I walk downstairs. I don't even have to get in my truck unless I just decide I want to go get something to eat. And that's amazing. And while I'm at home, I started training for this particular fight. I started training about 3.5 weeks ago at home. And like I said, I've had my kids all summer. I have a 5-year-old, a 6-year-old, and a 9-year-old.
9.
Yeah, 5, 6, and 9. And every time I go to the gym, they're in the truck with me. And I don't know if you've had, 3 little badass kids.
No.
But, truck, they're fighting over who's looking at me, or he did this, she did that. I'm hungry, this, and that. and it's so stressful. But now I'm here. I'm stress free, and I still get to talk to my kids on the phone and stuff. So I'm missing them, but they know why I'm here. They know all about Daddy's fighting. They know about me training. They know why I'm here. They know what I'm trying to do. And, of course, they miss me as well, but they understand. They're old enough to where they realize Daddy's gone because he's training because he's got a fight coming up. So it's not like I'm just here and my kids are wondering where their daddy's at. Cool with both of the baby mamas, so I can call and talk to my kids anytime I want. And when I get home, my kids will be there. So we're good to go.
That's beautiful. Do you focus heavily on conditioning? I guess that's silly, but tell me.
Yeah, I focus on everything, really. I just get out there. One day we got a wrestling class. All right, so today I did a kickboxing class this morning and boxing this afternoon. Yesterday I did a kickboxing class, I sparred, and then I did strength and conditioning last night. The day before that, I did a wrestling class, I did an MMA class, and then a jiu-jitsu class. So it's kind of
constant.
Every day there's something new, and each class you get a little bit of everything out of it. You get your strength and conditioning, your all of the cardio and stuff. It's going to come from every class as well. Yeah. I also got strength and conditioning on top of that, but just the constant grind. You got an elite level athlete trying to take you down, an elite level athlete trying to punch you in the face, an elite athlete trying to submit you. You either got to get better, you got to get in shape, or you get your ass ran over out here. And that's what I love. I've never really had that for an extended period of time. Just, guys on the next level they're trying to beat me. I'm not out there, with guys that are just letting me win, so it's either I go out there and I get better or I get ran over. And each day I'm going to improve. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Sounds a little bit like The Ultimate Fighter, the show, kind of, just living, eating, breathing MMA. How's and we're coming up towards the end, but do you care like a lot about your diet?
I don't. Yeah, man. Here lately, I've been taking my protein, and there's this stuff called super greens. It replaces your vegetables and your fruit, because I never in my life have I ever ate fruit and vegetables. Most of it's just the texture. I can deal with the flavor, but the texture of most of it, I just can't get it down. But I've never taken anything to substitute that ever. And then, here for the last probably 2 months, I've been taking the super greens, and man, I'm telling you, it's making a world of difference. I take that, I take the super greens, I take the protein, I take a multivitamin every day, and then I take the BCAAs. And it's really helping my body out a lot, the amino acids.
Okay, I might need to write that one down, because I'm breaking down over here.
Other than I eat anything I want, man. I eat all day, every day. I walk around about 160 pounds, and to cut to 145, I start at 158, cut about 13 pounds, and I do it really easy. Starting a month or so out from camp, I drink at least a gallon of water. And then once I get down to the last 2 weeks, I'm drinking 2 gallons of water every day. And, whenever I get in the sauna, it just falls off of me. And my metabolism is ridiculous. So I can eat Burger King and Pizza Hut and, Buffalo Wild Wings all in the same day and never gain a pound. It's like my body just eats it off as fast as, of course, I'm doing stuff to work it off as well. But it's like my body, if I don't eat, I could probably eat a little more healthy and maybe feel a little better. But if I don't eat constantly, then it's like I'm starving. And I don't know if maybe I got a tapeworm or what it is, I eat constantly.
You're running hot. Yeah, I mean, I would advise like fish and rice and like an oriental sort of possibly diet, but you're young, and I think that you're still 29, so you have that going for you as you get older. It's like, in order to still perform at that level, I feel like you got to use all the little opportunities, I guess.
What I do is like whenever I get about a month out from the fight, I cut out fast foods and I cut out most of my sweets. I start cooking home cooked meals, which they're not 1,000 times better, but I'm not eating fried foods every day and stuff like that. That's basically, I stopped eating gummy worms and shit for a month.
I like it. No, that's good. Okay, so that makes sense. Well, because I'll tell you a story. I went to basic training, and I was 26, so I started a little bit late. I could kind of hit a dead end in life, and they were giving out all these bonuses to join the Iraq War because they wanted that oil and whatnot. And so I joined, and I went to basic training at Fort Jackson, South Carolina, and they had 2 options for food in the food line every morning, and morning, noon, and night. And they had like a healthy line and a fast food line. And for whatever reason, I'm like, I'm never going to eat in the fast food line while I'm here. I'm just going to do, and it was like fish and rice and greens and oatmeal and egg whites and, whatever. I didn't give a fuck at the time. I was 26. It was like, whatever. But I was competing against these college kids who had just, they were like, anyways, they were college athletes. One of them was a football player. One of them was a track star. And they were younger and just more athletic and just naturally athletic. You could tell by looking at them. They were just, anyways, we go the whole, it was like 13 weeks or 9 weeks, and I was winning. It was us 3, like at the very top for the last test. And the day before the test, the PT test, I'm eating my fucking rice and greens and rice and shit, or fish. And the dude I'm competing against, he has his burger and he goes, and he starts smiling. He's like, I'm still going to beat you. And, the next day I won, he didn't even like get past the first, you have to do like as many push-ups as you can do in 2 minutes, as many sit-ups as you can do in 2 minutes, and then run 2 miles. And I did like 130 push-ups and 120 sit-ups, and I ran it in like 12 minutes or whatever. But I won high PT for my basic training. I don't know why I mentioned that, other than I like to brag about that sometimes.
Hey, like you said, the diet probably definitely had an effect. Your body was more fueled than his with the right shit.
That's all.
And it shows.
Yeah. And I busted my ass, so it was fun being in that, doing all, shooting and fucking playing soldier and whatnot.
For sure. I never had the balls for it, man. Of course, I caught a felony pretty early too, but I even before I caught a felony, I never had it in my mind. I never had the balls for it.
It was probably more out of desperation, and I actually had a felony, and they gave me a waiver because they just were letting anyone in at the time. It seemed like it was 2006, so you were probably too young.
Wanted that oil.
What's that?
Like you said, they wanted that oil.
Oh yeah, dude. When I learned all the shit that was going on, or at least the conspiratorial stuff, I was like, I don't want to go back there anymore. I've participated, and a lot of people probably got rich, and I'm just going to go do my thing. And I got out basically, but I still love you. I still love America.
So where did the idea of the sheath underwear come from?
I was there in Iraq on my second tour, and I had made sergeant by this time. So I went on my first tour, I was a private first class, and my second tour, just a year later, I was a sergeant. So I had my own team. We went to Camp Spiker to crit. I was a part of a unit that we were like very specialized, and we had very small teams, and we would go to, we were scattered on all the bases. So when we go as a unit, a company, and then we split into these like squads. So, you know, Baghdad got 10, Balad got 10, we got 5 because we were smaller, and Mosul, blah, blah, blah. Had 2 in Afghanistan, and then the main place was in Kuwait. But long story short, my second tour was much more relaxed. Like the first tour, there was dead bodies everywhere. It was crazy. Second tour, not a whole lot going on. I'm going to college, doing my thing. We're at the compound, and it was just hot, hotter than the devil's balls, right? One might say. And I was wearing some old underwear. I had someone else's underwear, I think. So it got mixed up, and it was just like itching my thighs and
chafing like hell.
Yeah, chafing, a lot of that. And I just had one of those moments, like if everything was separated, I wouldn't be having to unstick myself and, you know, be uncomfortable.
For sure.
Yeah.
I came up with the idea, man. I swear. I love them bitches. I got like 10 pairs of sheath underwear. I don't even know how I accumulated them. He sent me a few of them, but
yeah, he's a good dude.
The first time I ever got a pair was from Brandon Davis. He used to fight in the UFC, and he was like, I guess it was you, or I'm not sure, but someone sent him like 10 pair. It's like, man, you need to try these.
Wow.
And I had one pair, and I was like, man, I love these bitches. I would try to get that one pair washed like before every training session. And now that I've got like 10 of them, that's all I wear. If I'm training or if I'm working, I'm wearing sheath underwear. And if I'm just lounging around the house, of course, like I'll still wear my regular boxers. But if I'm working, anything that's going to cause any kind of sweat, any kind of friction down there, them bitches are on, and my boys are tucked in the right pouches.
I love it. Thank you so much. Thank you. That's cool to hear that you had heard from another fighter, and then, you know, we're trying to get everyone that fights to know about us, and we want to be like a part of this whole journey, because I think it's good for people. I think it's good for men, women, fighters, and it's inspirational. It's entertaining. It's the best sport on the planet.
I think for sure, like sheath underwear, I think that every man that does construction should have 10 pair. Mm-hmm. I think that every that fights, that runs, that does any kind of sport in this world, he should have some sheath underwear. And that's the God's honest truth, dude. Like, I've wore plenty of different kind of boxers, and I've never had any that did the job like sheath. I swear to God. It's not trying to pump your nuts up or anything, but
I appreciate it. I mean, and I advise anyone that enjoys fighting to watch some of Jason Knight's fights, because they're very exciting. They're just going to get better. He's debuting in the PFL September,
August 27th.
There you go. And 1 month, dude. Thank you so much for coming on here. That was so awesome to have you and to get to talk to you and just have a good conversation. That's what I enjoy doing that. So
for sure, man. Well, one day when we're not on camera, I have to tell you about the whole another dimension. You know, the little talk we had earlier. I have to tell you the whole story. Everybody I've ever told the story is, the funniest thing, and the funniest thing in the world to them. It was the worst nightmare I've ever had, but it was funny to everybody else. So we'll have to talk about that one day.
I look forward to it. We can do this again. We can talk about it at another time, but probably off camera. So I'll see you around for sure.
All right, brother. I appreciate it. I'm gonna go ahead and get off here, get me something to eat.
Yeah. Just your Jason Knight on Instagram and
JTK the Kid on Instagram. I hardly ever get on Twitter, but it's at Jason the Kid 23. Facebook is just Jason Knight, and then my fan page on Facebook is Jason the Kid Knight. Snapchat at JTK the Kid. I got a TikTok, but I hardly ever get on there either. It's at JTK the Kid 1992. But man, I appreciate you having me on the show, and hopefully we can get on here after my fight, talk about the big win.
Yes.
And big shout out to SHEATH Underwear, my newest sponsor. But yeah, man, I really appreciate it. 100%. And all the bullshit I talked about SHEATH Underwear, that is 100% authentic. You know, that's not just me trying to boost you up. I have to show you I got to show you my drawer real quick.
Let's do it. I love it. Because I'm always curious that people are trying to gas me up and whatnot. There we go.
Sheath. More sheaths.
Oh, man.
Yeah, man. That's all I wear, baby.
Thank you, sir. We're going to even get you some more, and I will go ahead and let you go so you can go ahead and pop off, and I'll close it up.
All right, brother. You have a good one. I appreciate you.
Thank you. I appreciate you so much. That was awesome.
All right. Peace.
Peace.